Yes, well, if they want to make me into a monster, we'll give them a monster. Like when Godzilla attacked Haiti.
Oh my god.
Well, hello kitties, this is your friendly neighborhood watchman coming to you to talk about how Godzilla Minus One just totally destroyed Hollywood. And I am quoting the headline from Bleeding Fool, and today an article on Godzilla Minus One with the Chris Sawin byline from Bounding Into Comics with the title Godzilla Minus One Review, a Best of the Year Contender. Godzilla Minus One is the first modern Godzilla film to come along that feels spiritually connected to the original movie from 1954. It could pass as a reboot with moments like the train sequence, feeling like both a throwback and a contemporary update. But it's so much more. In 1945, during the last days of World War II, a kamikaze pilot named Koichi Shikishima landed on Odo Island, claiming his aircraft malfunctioned. That night, a dinosaur-like beast locals call Godzilla attacks and kills everyone except for Koichi and Tachibana, the lead mechanic. A year later, Koichi returns home, only to find out that his parents have died in the bombing of Tokyo. He gets a job as a minesweeper to support a woman named Noriko and an orphan little girl named Akiko. Still haunted by fleeing from his duty as a kamikaze pilot during the war and the men who died on Odo Island, Koichi's guilt hits rock bottom when Godzilla returns mutated and much bigger than before. As Godzilla begins carving a wave of destruction towards Tokyo and military weapons do not stop him, it's up to the civilians with war experience to formulate a plan that will hopefully keep the unstoppable monster from destroying the rest of Japan. When the original film capitalized on the war, Godzilla Minus One picks up as the war ends and Japan is at its lowest. As Godzilla strikes, Japanese defenses are at their weakest or practically non-existent. With nothing at their disposal, they have to rely on outside forces to attempt to stand toe-to-toe with Godzilla. It is their job to stall for time, and all they can do is sit, watch, and die once the monster steps ashore. It's mesmerizing, but it's also absolutely terrifying. Godzilla goes through changes again to reach colossal proportions, but he has a minor evolution compared to Shin Godzilla, with only two different forms in Minus One. As a youngling, Godzilla is smaller and faster, and moreover, the atomic bomb is seemingly still the cause of its birth. Perhaps in both instances, the sequences of its stomping and trashing things are as devastating as they are sorrowfully impressive. The camp associated with the rubber suit days is a distant memory, and likewise the Godzilla here seems like a far screonk away from the Monsterverse counterpart. Humans are these annoying obstacles to monstrous destruction in those films, while most of the kaiju know how to smash, yet don't have as much cause or anger behind the devastation. There are some awe-inspiring Godzilla sequences in Minus One, beginning with its atomic breath, wiping out cities instantly, leaving Godzilla smoldering. They up the ante with Godzilla's breath. It's like a freaking nuke, causes so much damage, and then secondary damage from the shockwave from his blast hits as well. Seeing that blue wave slowly migrate up the fins of its tail to the back of its head is executed in a refreshing and harrowing way. The boat chase is a thing of beauty as well, that are then shot at by the mind-exterminating boat crew, results in one of the most exhilarating sequences ever realized in the franchise. Yeah, I have to agree, that was a great scene. The cast doesn't phone in either. Seeing Minus One, you are witness to a once-in-a-lifetime instance of a unique big monster movie where humans are as intriguing as the creature. You feel invested in Koichi's inability to escape the war and Godzilla's indestructibility. On the home front, Koichi and Noriko aren't romantically involved, and Akiko isn't related to either. But the bold writing choice pays off. Atomic breath. If only Listerine could counteract it. The human characters can each live their own lives, rather than always make joint decisions, or always be in the same place together at once. The fact that Godzilla shows up and the fight against him brings the surrogate family back together makes the film all the more fascinating. The cinematography by Kozo Shibasaki helps give the impression that Godzilla is this inevitable force of nature. The rampages feel intimate and make the audience feel like they're a part of a terrifying hysteria. Perspective-wise, you often look up at Godzilla as he stomps on unsuspecting people or bites down on them and hurls them into the sky. Godzilla Minus One is not only one of the best films out of the 30 plus in the series, but also one of the best films of the year. The acting is superb, the destruction is immense and incredible, and the gnarly Godzilla design is fantastic. It's ridiculous, if true, that this film only has a budget of $15 million because it looks better than most Hollywood blockbusters. Yeah, and that's saying a lot with how much money Hollywood spends. Like Disney, for example. Losing money, they spend so much, commonly spending up to triple figures in the millions on their woke, crappy films. I can't believe it's only $15 million. That's amazing. Advancing technology and program. So you got the pros and cons here. Film got 10 out of 10 from the author. Pros, Godzilla is nasty as ever. The human characters don't suck. And the entire film is destructive. Bliss. Cons, none. So folks, without further ado, let us jump right into the reader's comment section. First up is Scott Gunn, who says, saw this with my 17-year-old son, who saw it the night before me. This is the first time ever he wanted to go to a second showing of a movie in a theater. Give that some exercise. If I was going to criticize it, I'd say it gets a touch maudlin in places, but otherwise a great popcorn-munching film that puts Hollywood to shame. Yep, I agree 100. Pat Gray C replies, it's been a long time. I'm glad to hear /C Big G is back to form. I need to give this a watch. Next from Rick Jones we have, great movie, so much better than the Hollywood films. And it was done on a tenth of the typical Hollywood budget. Amazing. Exactly how I felt. It was so refreshing to see a movie that didn't try to push the diversity agenda. Just tell a good story with good actors. Amen. No, what's my sexual preference? Who cares?
I'm still hot though.
Next from Dua Lipa's Hot, we have, look forward to seeing this. Who doesn't love a good kaiju movie? Raider68 replies, Hollywood. Manga's Dad also replies, it's more of a human story. Godzilla is a specter of war. Men must stand up and defend their country, their wives, and their children, because the government won't. An anonymous guest answers, raise his hand. But I have no problem with other people enjoying movies of all sorts. Gifter Gab in turn replies, not really a kaiju movie. More of a Japanese guys sit around and emote while Godzilla sometimes pokes his head up to see what's happening. Raider responds, that sounds like Shin Godzilla. Gifter Gab replies, exactly. The two aren't dissimilar. I touched upon this in my brief review commentary on Godzilla Minus One about it being an enjoyable film, unless you happen not to care for these kaiju giant movie films, and it being similar to Shin Godzilla and a worthy successor to Gojira, to the original Japanese 1954 Godzilla film, Gojira. So folks, that's the end of this video. If you agree with the article and also like the film, please give this video a thumbs up and comment if you'd like to share your thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. You'll be helping the channel out, and hit the notification bell so that you'll always be forewarned for whenever I'm about to drop another video. And as always, stay safe and I bid you peace.